Hello YouTube survivalist reviewers, knife and multi-tool fanatics. Here is my review of the Victorinox Spirit X Swisstool. I love this tool. There's just something about it. First off, in its design, the ergonomics are comfortable. Its size is totally reasonable. This fits in your size range of Leatherman Wave, maybe smaller, verging on the original Leatherman PST. A little bit wider, a little bit heavier, but similar dimensions. This guy is high polished stainless steel. Makes it very difficult to rust, makes it very easy to clean, and with that, Victorinox actually recommends on their website just put this sucker in the washing machine or the dishwasher to give it a good clean. I've taken that recommendation. I've actually done that once or twice, and I still have an extremely functional, durable multi-tool. One thing for you all to be aware of is Victorinox, in all of their metal and knives, tend to use a slightly cheaper, because they make 100,000 knives a day. They got to find it somewhere, but don't let that detract from the quality of this tool. This is a high quality, not a cheap tool. I've put it through hell and it's done a great job and still looks pretty shiny, you know. But it's also softer. It's a softer metal, and for all of you that find that a concern, let me tell you why it's not a concern. It's just something to consider. The softer steel, along with Victorinox's blade design, it's a very thin blade. The softer steel allows it to be sharpened to a much finer hone. This is a knife that within 5 minutes or less you can have yourself a dry shave worthy blade. That is why it's a good thing. It's easy to sharpen. It can take a lot of punishment and still retain its integrity. And it's easy to get to. One of the great things, you know, there's survivalist forums and survival instructions will have instructions or advice or techniques on how to sharpen a knife when you don't have a sharpener. Finding sandstone, very fine-grained soot and water on a stone. These are all things that pop up. And these are all things that would easily sharpen this knife, that would give you a serviceable edge quickly when you have no other options. That is one reason I absolutely love Victorinox steel. And the other great thing is, on a standard Swiss tool that I had, I was using this guy, and I was torquing on a screw, and it simply twisted but stayed intact. I've put just as much strain and pressure on Leatherman and SOG flathead screwdrivers, and they've simply broken. They've snapped. After some work on the vice grip or some pliers, I had it back to a straight serviceable flathead screwdriver. So when it comes to the long run, it will show more wear for punishment, but it will last longer. And they have also gone to the effort of using different strength steels for different implements. So the knife has one hardness, the saw a slightly lighter hardness, softer hardness, and the file softer still. And on the saw and the files, what they've done is actually coated the steel to give it more resistance and durability. And with that, I find that this saw, or this file here, one of the more aggressive files I've found on a multi-tool. Extremely aggressive, does a lot of cutting, but it does seem to lose its filing ability more easily than the Leathermans or the SOGs. But what are you trading off for? A better filing, so you have to take fewer swipes, or something that will last a really long time, but not file very well, comparatively. And the saw, this saw, in my years working in natural resource restoration, has been so handy. I've never encountered a more aggressive, faster cutting wood saw on a multi-tool than this. It will dispatch with a 1/4 to 3/4, almost 1-inch log in minutes with minimal effort. I'm astounded at how great this thing is. The pliers, not quite a full needle nose. That's kind of a bummer, but it does allow for a slightly more robust design in the plier head. You have inside of here little divots for hard wire cutting and then soft wire. There's not a lot of space in those wire cutters, but you know, when we're talking about overall utility and overall availability on a variety of tools, that's kind of one of the sacrifices you're going to get. You're going for something that can be available for most things all the time versus something that can be available for exactly everything every time. You're going to have a really huge, ridiculously designed tool, and I think, what are those called? Toolboxes. You're just going to carry your damn toolbox. Scissors, curious design. They don't open up all the way. I think that's one of the sacrifices they made to put it into a tighter space with a new design. They cut really well, and I've been satisfied with their performance thus far, but if you're looking to be able to get those jaws around a wider cutting material, you're going to have a harder time. Can opener, super solid, easy to go. Got a little screwdriver, got your Phillips, there's the small flathead, a little leather awl here with a hook, a large, what they call pry bar, but also screwdriver, bottle opener, wire bender, and then this guy, a feature you don't find on nearly, well, actually any other multi-tool except the ones made by Victorinox, is a chisel. A full-fledged chisel. Man, that's cool. It's helped get paint off of things. It's helped me remove bark from logs. It's been extremely useful in removing hardened epoxy type things from surfaces. This is a fantastic addition, and it's super easy to file and resharpen. Done that a few times, and it comes down here with your wire cutters. There's a technique to using those. I haven't had a lot of experience cutting, stripping wires with these. They're wire strippers, so I've always ended up using them for doing other things. I can't even think of what they are. They were so oddly used. But a feature there, it's a feature that comes on most multi-tools anymore. There's something like that somewhere. This is what Victorinox did for theirs. Useful enough, I suppose, but the biggest feature is this chisel. Man, that's cool. And at the end of the day, this guy right here, while having many drawbacks from a wide variety of other features that other multi-tools have, at the end of the day, this is the one I choose almost every time. I've gone through a Leatherman Wave, a Super Tool 300, a SOG Power Lock, a SOG Power Assist, and even a full-size Swisstool, and I always find myself just liking this one more. Its size, its weight, its functionality, its design, its durability. This is one of those tools that is not the best at everything, because there is no multi-tool that is the best at everything, but there aren't many multi-tools that are good at everything. A lot of manufacturers will choose being the best at one thing and just being good enough on all the others. This is one where everything is equally awesome across the board, and it is more useful day to day in a wider variety of circumstances than most other multi-tools I have encountered. So there you go. Happy shopping, happy reviewing, happy discussing YouTube. Godspeed.